Hey guys, Jim Bullock here, Youth Director at the Heights Church. Welcome to our virtual youth group as we're using social media during this time of social distancing. I can't wait till the day we're all back together, hanging out in the gym and playing games. Meanwhile, we're going to try to do as much as we can online. Um, if you were able to jump in on Zoom either tonight or last week, great. We had some good times. We're going to continue to try to do a Zoom hangout in our game on Zoom um, for the time being. If there's something else that you guys think would be a better thing, if you like the Instagram games better, we'll go back to that. I hope you guys took advantage of our this or that on Instagram today. Um, and we're gonna be looking for some more of those throughout the weeks to come. Things like the not just this and that. Um, be also looking out for later this week. A schedule is going to be coming out for next week of the different things we're going to be doing on social media or on just online throughout the next week. We're going to try to do something almost every day. Um, some of it will be interactive, some of it will be a video to watch, um, things like that. If that is something you guys are interested in or have ideas, feel free to send me a message with those in them. I would love for new ideas and things that you guys would like to see happen. Um, so we're going to be working on some of those, and that will come out on later this week. I'm hoping to have it out by Friday of the schedule of things that we will be doing. Um, Last week we talked about Palm Sunday. Palm Sunday starts Holy Week, which we're in right now. Leading up to Easter, the week leading up to Easter. On that, we are going to be having a online Monday Thursday service. If you are interested in that, send me a message and I will send you back the information how to join our online Monday Thursday. We will be taking communion together through an online meeting, and just you will have to provide your own bread and grape juice. Um, so if you're interested in that, feel free to message me, and I'll love to get you that information and see you guys tomorrow. Um, on that, we're gonna get to our lesson tonight. We're talking about Easter, as that is a Sunday, and how empty can be a good thing. We're gonna look at Luke chapter 24, 1 through 8, and also Mark 8:34, and Romans 6, 6 through 11. Um, so when you think about Easter, what are some things you think about? Maybe that's the Easter bunny, candy, family get-togethers, um, pastel colors, things like that. Personally, I think about going to church as a family and getting together for a meal and eating candy, eggs. My family always dyes hard-boiled eggs. It's a time that we always looked forward to do together. Something that was a tradition in my family is we always make at least one ugly egg, where we take all the pretty pastel colors and we mix them together and let the egg sit in there for a while, and it turns out like a ugly brownish greenish color. If you guys have fun Easter traditions, I would love to hear about those as well. All these are good and cute, and but when we talk about the meaning of Easter, those seem empty. And when it comes to the true meaning of Easter, empty is a good thing. Normally, the concept of something being empty isn't really a good thing. Um, Empty brings us unneeded stress. like an empty gift card, an empty coffee cup, an empty wallet. Those things are things that we're not really necessarily happy to have empty. Um, so empty equals no good, right? You see, everyone and their mom would get together on Easter to celebrate a holiday that is to them empty. But I'm here to tell you that um, that empty can be a good thing, and on Easter, empty is a good thing. When we look at Easter in the proper light, we understand what really happened and what was going on, and why we celebrate Easter. Empty is a good thing. When Jesus was murdered and nailed on the cross, they buried him in a tomb, basically a cave, and they rolled a heavy stone in front of the tomb. Then in 3 days, something unbelievable happened. The tomb was empty. Luke 24, 1 through 8 says, "But very early on Sunday morning, the women went to the tomb, taking spices that they prepared. They found that the stone had been rolled away from the entrance, so they went in. But they didn't find the body of the Lord Jesus. As they stood, they were puzzled. Two men suddenly appeared to them, clothed in dazzling robes. The women were terrified and bowed with their faces on the ground. And the men asked, 'Why are you looking among the dead for someone who's alive? He isn't here. He's risen from the dead. Remember what he told you back in Galilee, that the Son of Man must be betrayed into the hands of sinful men and crucified, and that he would rise again on the third day.' Then they remembered that he had said this. Empty is proof. Now let's back up a minute. Let's look earlier during Jesus' ministry when he said to go when he said had to go through this to his disciples. Um, this comes from Mark 8:31. Then Jesus began to tell them that the Son of Man must suffer many terrible things and be rejected by the elders and leading priests and the teachers of religious law. He would be killed, and on the third day he would rise from the dead. Proof Jesus is who he says he is. Ever heard someone make a bunch of claims but couldn't back it up? Jesus didn't do that. We just read in Mark that Jesus said that he would die and rise again after 3 days, and he backed that up. Now, I can follow someone who makes a claim as huge as this, and then backs it up. Empty is powerful. Jesus had power over death. Because Jesus died and rose again, because Jesus is who he says he is, Jesus has power over sin's greatest weapon, death. You know, for something to have life, something has to die. Did you eat some fruit today? It had to be disconnected from a tree, its source of life. It had to die to give you life. Jesus is the one who says, "I can give you life. I can make it so that you will never really die, that even after life on earth is done with you, you will live with me forever, because that is how much I love you. The empty tomb shows us that Jesus has power over death. He looked death straight in the eyes and took death's best string and overcame it. How amazing! Empty is permanent. You know, plenty of people visit Jerusalem every year. Plenty of people walk down the same roads that Jesus walked down. We talked about last week how it was like 2 to 3 million people came to Jerusalem um, for the Passover, and people still go to see where Jesus walked today. One of the places people love to visit is the place where historians believe Jesus was buried. Guess what? This is the tomb that is still empty. Romans 6:9 says, "We are sure of this because Christ is raised from the dead, and he will never die again. Death no longer has power over him." Jesus wasn't in the tomb 3 days after he died. He isn't in the tomb today, and he will never be. Jesus is God, and he is alive forever. His body has, um, his body wasn't stolen. It wasn't in the wrong tomb. It wasn't a magic trick. Um, so when we look at the true meaning of Easter and everything Jesus did for us on the cross, empty is a good thing. Empty means Jesus is who he says he is. Empty means Jesus has power over death. And empty is permanent. Jesus is permanently alive, and death will never overcome him again. When we decide to follow him instead of following our own selfish desires, we can, um, we too can be really, really alive, or we can really live. So, as we talked about throughout this uh, lesson, we had talked about how empty is a good thing. Empty is proof. In this context, empty is proof that Jesus um, rose from the dead. The tomb was empty. Empty uh, is powerful. Jesus had power over death. He rose again on the third day. And empty is permanent. As we talk about this, we're also going to talk about how um, in the power over death, it talked about a little bit in that section where we talked about that, how um, death uh, was the ultimate weapon for sin. With We are all born sinners and deserve to die, but God had to send His only Son, Jesus, to overcome death, and because of that, we can live forever in Him and with Him in heaven. If this is something you want to talk about more with, feel free to reach out. I can give you my number. We can call, FaceTime, do a Zoom talk, whatever. I would love to talk to you about that if that's something that you're more interested in. If you haven't received Christ as your Savior and you would like to do that, feel free to reach out. So remember throughout this Easter season that empty is a good thing. in the case of the tomb. Let's remember that Easter isn't about getting candy or going on an Easter egg hunt, and that just because we're not able to get together this Easter season, we can still remember that, um, and we can still be connected online um, through things like this. Throughout this next couple of days, I'm going to have some devos up on our Instagram page that you are free to just come and look at and spend some time. I may try a few different formats to see what you guys may like. Please uh, feel free to send me a message if you like, or write a comment on it if you like it. The way a certain way, let me know. I want to do whatever is best for you guys. Again, we have our uh, Monday Thursday service tomorrow at 6:30. If you're interested in that, send me a message. I'll get you that information. And our church is also um, going to be having our service online on YouTube on Easter at 10 o'clock. We will have that up on our YouTube page, which is The Heights Church, East Liverpool, Ohio. Just look that up. I believe if you just write The Heights Church and you start writing out East Liverpool, it will come up. So yeah, if I don't get to interact with you guys in any other way, have a great Easter. Spend some time with your families. Spend some time with God. Um, I'm praying for you guys, and I can't wait for the times where this virus is over and we can be back together face to face. I'm praying for you guys. Have a great week.